Hey guys, welcome back to a new video in this series. So, first, I discovered that I had not set up properly the focus on my camera and it was not focusing my face. It was trying to focus those things over there and it was annoying me. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was this sort of like, I don't know, like bug or something, but no, it's just a setting that I forgot to turn on. Now, today we're going to continue with the cleanup process and we're going to be exploring a tool that I'm also quite new to. But I think it's a really strong tool and really powerful. It's one of those things that every now and then you're going to find as a 3D artist that might change the way you do things. It might change your workflow. So what am I talking about is, of course, a RETOPOFLOW. So some of you guys have probably heard about this one, especially if you're a 3D Blender user. So RETOPOFLOW is one of these plugins that has been around in Blender for a long time, from what I was able to gather. It's been around for a while now. And here's the thing. I was initially like immediately like turned away from this plugin because of the price, right? Like I know Blender is free, but paying $86 for a plugin, I don't know. At first I was like, oh, I'm not sure if this is a good idea. And I remember when I was at school, a lot of my teachers used to tell me you should not rely on plugins if you're going to be working on a studio, because chances are that the studio won't like to or won't have the ability to invest on those specific plugins, and that's why you usually work with like stock, it's called stock software, right? Like with whatever Maya has out of the box, that's what you're going to be using. However, if you're going to be an indie artist, then investing in a good toolkit or in a good like a series of tools for your workflow, it's perfectly fine. Like if I'm going to be using, or if I'm going to be doing a lot of retopology and I know that this tool is going to be worth it, then of course paying $86 is not a bad idea. However, here's the quick trick, and if you've been watching for the past 2 minutes, hopefully you haven't closed the little window or you haven't gone anywhere else. The creators of RETOPOFLOW do follow the sort of Blender philosophy of getting these things for everyone, right? So technically, you can get RETOPOFLOW for free. You don't have to pay. So I'm gonna go RETOPOFLOW. There's a lot of people that show you how to do this, but the quick like way to do this is right here. As you can see on the GitHub, like a repository, for those of you that are programmers, you might understand this a little bit better than I do. You can actually get the modules from here. So as you can see, it says right here, you may purchase RETOPOFLOW on the Blender market, which is this one right here that I just showed you, or you can just like download this one right here. So if you don't really know how to do this, just YouTube this, like just Google it. It's really easy, but I always like forget one specific point. It's just a matter of like downloading one specific file from here, one of these guys right here, and then just like installing it on your Blender folder, and that's it. The one thing that you don't get if you do get this free version, by the way, the authors of the software are completely aware of this. It's not like we're stealing or anything. They understand this. They just kind of like hide it, of course, because they want to get some sales, which is perfectly understandable. But if you want to try it out first, and then later on you want to support the creators of this plugin, then you can just buy a license later on. But again, for just instruction sake or for a learning experience, I think it's a really good idea right here. So I think it's one of these ones. I don't remember exactly what, but again, just look it up and you can get this one for free. Now, when you install it here inside of Blender, you're gonna get this little button right here, RETOPOFLOW. It's like the plugin, it's now active. I think the only thing you need to do is just need to like download it and then go here to preferences, and then you go into add-ons, and you go install, and you're gonna install whatever like add-on you downloaded, and that's it. That's pretty much it. So now that it's installed, every time you open Blender, it's going to be there. So let's delete the cube very quickly. I'm going to go, let me turn on my keystrokes so that you can follow along if you are following along. I'm going to go into import, and I'm going to import an FBX. And we're going to be importing, of course, the FBX from our project, the sci-fi helmet. So we're going to go to my projects right here. There we go, next to live, and assets, sci-fi helmet high. There we go. Now, remember, in Zbrush, the scale of this is really tiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scale this up quite a bit, a little bit more, just so that we have enough like room to work with. And then later on, in the same way as with Maya, we're just going to scale the whole thing back down so that we can bring it into Zbrush and finalize the high poly. So, as you remember, we have a couple of pieces right here that we need to retopologize to create some clean, sharp edges with. And we're going to be using RETOPOFLOW, and we're also going to be using traditional modeling tools. So let's start with RETOPOFLOW. I'm going to select the object. I'm going to go here to RETOPOFLOW. I'm going to say create new target at active right here. And when you get this, the whole thing is going to change. Your interface is going to change. You're going to get this thing right here. Just say close if you don't want to read it. And then there's this warning. If you haven't saved, like this is a completely new Blender scene, you're going to be saving on a temporary like folder. That's fine. Or you can just save your scene normally, and it's going to save on top of the scene. So with the auto save, or when you hit Control S. And that's it. We're inside the like RETOPOFLOW plugin. This is one thing I really like kind of like about Blender, the fact that a lot of the plugins have their own like little interface. So when you go in there, it's kind of like changing softwares, but within Blender. I find that quite interesting. And before you start on the comments like, oh, Abraham's gonna change into Blender now, he's a Blender guy now. No. It's not that I'm a Blender guy. I'm an artist, so I'm gonna use whatever tool works the best for me. And it could be Blender, it could be Maya, it could be Houdini, I don't know, right? Right now, those are the only ones, not Houdini, but Maya and Blender, those are the ones that I'm at least like proficient at. So, and now this is pretty much like creating the live surface thing inside of Maya. This model is ready to be used with RETOPOFLOW. And as you can see, these are all of the tools that we have. Now, there's a very cool shortcut right at the side of your number one. If you have like a traditional, like normal keyboard, I think it's called the tilde key. If you press that one, oh, it's not working with mine. Maybe you need to change it to Spanish. No. Okay, it seems like they changed the shortcut. That's what the one that I thought it was. But number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, 7, and 8, those are the traditional buttons right here in case you don't want to be like moving your mouse from one point to the other. And these are the tools. This is it. These are all of the tools that you have. One thing that I don't like love about the plugin is the fact that contrary to Maya's Quadro tool, everything is inside of the Quadro tool. Here, it's kind of like separated, but this has more options. So, spoiler alert, I like this tool more. So, the first one, contours, we're not going to really use it because it's more for like fingers, arms, and cylindrical stuff. It's when you want to create just like a loop around. Polystrip is kind of nice, and I'm going to show you how it works. For all of these tools, you're going to be using the Control key to create things. So think about Control, create, C. That's the way to remember. And if you just press Control and click and drag like this, you're going to draw a polystrip. And that polystrip, as you can see, it's following the shape of my object like pretty nicely. Now, if you press Shift and middle mouse and drag to up and down, or middle mouse to scroll, you're going to be able to change the amount of loops. This, my friends, is just amazing. Like, when I saw this tool, I was like, damn, that's super practical, because in a really fast way, instead of having to click and create all of these elements, I can just create a polystrip just like that. So super cool. These things right here, they're pretty handy to, again, give it a little bit of direction. We're not going to be using this tool quite as much, but it's a really cool tool. Now, here's the thing. If you want to delete stuff, things get a little bit tricky here. First of all, you need to press A to go into like selection mode, and then you need to select what you want to delete. So for instance, if I want to delete this face, I need to press X, and then I need to say delete vertices. That's going to delete all of the vertices that are connected to that face. Or if I go to, I believe that right there, again X, and say edges, we just delete the edges and we keep the vertices. So not as I would say intuitive as with Maya, which is just Control, but it works fine. If you press Control A, no, Shift A, sorry, Control A, Alt A, where is it? A. If you just press A, just like deselect and then press A, it's gonna select everything, and then you can press X and just delete. Super easy. Delete vertices, remember, so that everything gets deleted. The strokes is also a really cool one. Again, these are like a little bit more situational, I would say. If you really know your tools, then it could be like very handy. But stroke works in this way. You just press Control, you draw a line, and when you finish drawing the line, you're gonna get vertices, points. So here, again, I can press Shift and use my scroll wheel to increase or decrease the amount of points that I want. So let's say I want like 10 points right there. And then I can just press Control again and draw over here. And again, increase this so that we have 10 points. So now, technically, I should be able to bridge all of this, guys, and create a very simple pattern. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It works pretty nice. Patches is it's a different one. How was it? Oh, there you go. Patches. No, that's not the one that we're getting right now. Polypen, that's the other one. Polypen is probably the one that we're going to be using the most. It's really handy, and it's very simple. It's very similar to the Quadro. So if you're used to the Quadro, you're probably going to be using the Polypen quite a bit. And the way this works is as follows. You press Control, click, 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 and click, and that creates a square. And if you continue, as you can see right here, I just create more squares, right? Just need to be sure that you're creating squares first, and then you create the next one. It really reminds me, if you guys have ever done like retopology inside of Zbrush, where you have to use C-spheres and do this sort of stuff, it's a very similar process, because you're just like clicking from one point to the other. This is where the vertices and everything are going to be snapping. So for instance, I can just go here and say click, and then click, and then click. That should give me, it should have given me a face. Not sure why it didn't, but yeah, there we go. So let's press A again. Let's just delete everything again. I'm just going to show you one more tool here with the Polypen. One of the things I don't like about the Polypen, and they mentioned this on the options, is the fact that you need to first create like a triangle and then you create a square. That can be a little bit annoying, right? So the easiest way to fix that is just go here to the options and select change this to quad only. That's it. So now when we start drawing, it will only draw squares. And as you can see, this becomes way faster, just like that. So all of these tools are really handy. There's a couple more I'm going to show you as we go through this elements. There's of course other creators that have talked about RETOPOFLOW, and they have more in-depth guides about RETOPOFLOW. So if you want to check them out, make sure to look them up, because again, I'm just showcasing this as an alternative for you guys, and something else that we can do. So let's start with like this piece right here, like this top piece. So I'm going to start with my Polypen. Oh, one thing that I really like is the symmetry option. So I'm going to go symmetry X. I'm going to start right here. There's the symmetry. So Control. We're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Well, that's 3. We do have the tweak option, this one right here. So tweak creates this nice little element. I believe F, the letter F, is the size of the element. So you can change the size of the point that's going to be moving this. I think we can just leave it like that. I'm not sure if it merges it. Yeah, it does. Okay. So let's go back to Polypen. Just click here. Control. I'm going to go Control, click, click. There we go. And then let's start. Click, click, and then just click, click, and click. There we go. So we just follow the silhouette in a very nice manner. Let's go here, here, there, and then here, here, there. I do believe we do have this patches thing. There we go. There, and then just hit enter. The patches is like the bridge tool. So again, one thing we can do, for instance, I remember the, or let's say we do like 1 point there, 1 point there, and we just hit enter. We can go to, I think we can go to the patches tool. Nah. I was trying to see if we could like bridge from one point to the other, but that's gonna be a little bit difficult. What we can do, for instance, is go like here, here, and there we go. So now we have more spaces. And if we go to the patches tool, we select one line, shift select the other one, and just hit enter. One line, shift select the other one, enter. One line, shift select the other one, and enter. There we go. We can go to our tweak tool. Let's move this around a little bit. And now here's where we're going to do a little bit of topology magic. If you've been following the series and you know the kind of flow that we want here, we want to have like a nice sharp edge right here. So we're going to start like right there. And we're going to go right there. And then we move here, 2, 3. Now here's the patches tool again. And I do believe we can do this right there. There we go. Look how fast that did it. I do wish we had this sort of like because I really like the Polypen, but it kind of like behaves in a little bit of a random way, or a different way to how I'm like used to doing Retopo. I wish we could like move some points around, but it's fine. Now let's just move these things around. And there we go. We have pretty much created our shape, the clean shape that we want. Now, of course, this is really low poly, as you can see right here. We also have the relax tool, which for what's the word? Which for topology is always important. It's not relaxing that much though. There we go. Now, here's where the next step of the retopology process comes into play, because right now we've created the shape, it's looking good, but now we need to actually make a geometry so that we can work with it, extrude it, give it thickness, whatever, right? So I'm gonna grab this thing right here, and I'm just gonna press a tab key to go into any other of the modes, and it's gonna say, hey, are you sure you wanna exit? And I'm gonna say yes. And this geometry that we just created, as you can see, it's right here. So let me turn off the helmet right now, and this is what we have. So we can go into component mode, and as you can imagine, we can do anything that you would normally do with a component. So for instance, in this case, I do want to turn off symmetry. I do believe we have a modifier. There we go. We have the mirror modifier. Let's delete it. That's perfect. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my front view. Again, component mode. Let's grab all of the vertices right here, and we're going to scale them on the x-axis. I'm going to press 0, so they're perfectly scaled. And then we're going to turn on the snapping tool over here, which is right here, snapping. And we're going to snap to, and yeah, if increments is fine. So we just grab that, we press G and X. And as you can see, that should actually, let's go to absolute great snap. There we go. GX, there we go. So now that's perfectly mirrored. Some of you guys might tell me in the comments if I'm messing up, because I'm also quite new to Blender. I've been using it for very little time, but again, it's quite nice. Let's get rid of the displacement modifier. We don't need it. And now I am gonna add Shift A. I'm gonna add an empty group, just an empty plain axis, because we want to do a mirror. So I'm gonna select this guy. We're gonna do a mirror function right here. As you can see, by default it should follow the world, but sometimes I like to just add that guy, like the empty group, so that it follows the empty. And if I were to move this empty like this, as you can see, it's gonna follow very nicely. Now I definitely want to make that that thing permanent, so I'm just gonna hit here and apply. And now this thing should be a solid object. The way to check this, if you just select one of these guys and move it around, it should move both faces. If it only moves one point, then that means that your object has not been merged, and that's important. And yeah, finally, I'm just gonna go to well, I'm gonna go back to the modifiers, and this is I honestly give the trophy to Blender for this tool. The what's the word? The solidify tool is just amazing. It makes extrusions of this kind of shapes so much easier, because in here I can just say, hey, I wanna give this thing an extrusion towards the inside like this. And there we go. I don't have to worry about things collapsing onto each other with the extrusion tool. It just gives the shell that I need. So I really like this thickness tool. Someone in the comments, or a couple of our guys, shoutouts guys to you, we're talking about which software is better for which thing. And I do think once you master the tools, Blender could have the upper hand on modeling. Maya, I still think it's a really powerful tool for a lot of other things, but Blender does have some really nice modeling options. I'm just gonna hit apply here. There we go. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The shape is ready. Of course, we're gonna say right click and shade smooth to give this a nice smooth shade. And if we were to add a subdivision modifier, this is where things are gonna get interesting. If we add a subdivision surface here, of course we're gonna get the typical Cadmore-Clark subdivision thing where edges get smoothed out. So we're gonna go into edge mode. And in this case, I do think we're gonna follow with the thing that we were doing, which was the it was the full edge, all of this edge around the whole thing. Let's make sure that we select everything here, and we're gonna bevel it. So I'm gonna hit we're gonna hit bevel right here, and we're gonna give it a nice little bevel, something like this. And then I'm gonna use my insert edge loop. I'm gonna insert one right here, and we're gonna insert one up here, one right there, one up here, and there's one right here to keep this very nice sharp edge. And I'm thinking about adding one here to give it a sort of round shape, and one right there, and of course one over here. And there we go. If we take a look at the element, look at this. A very nice sharp effect. Let's give it 2 more subdivisions or 1 more subdivision. And I really like this. I'm not super fond of this one though. So let's go back to selection. Let's select that one. Right click, or sorry, X, and dissolve or delete vertices. Oh, sorry, X, and it's dissolve edges. There we go. And that's it. Look at that. Super, super clean shape. It just looks perfect. I really don't have anything else to say. The topology is really clean. It's really nice. I know it took us like 20 minutes to get to this point, and this is because I'm also new to the tool. I've been like practicing with it the last couple of days, but it's a nice tool. And as you can see, using some of the things that we have here inside of Blender, we can achieve a really like nice and fast result without that much of a hassle. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching this, make sure to upload your portfolio. You still have chance. If you're watching this and you watch until the very end, then we are gonna have our portfolio review tomorrow. And on that portfolio review, of course, you can go down here to the description, upload your stuff, and I'll be happy to take a look and give you some feedback and suggestions on what things you might be able to improve. Also, before I go, I know, it's part of the drill. I need to show you this little commercial, so hang on tight because I have one special announcement after this one. Hey guys, Abraham here. I just wanted to remind you guys that we upload all of our courses to Skillshare. Skillshare is this amazing site where you can access a ton of different content to learn, improve, and grow as an artist. We have all of our courses available to watch and learn from right now in Skillshare. You can check the description down here, and Skillshare is offering 1 free month trial to their premium membership. With this membership, you're going to be able to access all of our courses and watch and learn all of the amazing things that we cover with all of the softwares. So, what are you waiting for? Check Skillshare down here below. There we go. So the special announcements, besides of course the portfolio review this weekend, is that I just learned a very cool technique that I want to show you guys. So we're probably going to be taking a look at it next week, which is a photogrammetry tool. So if you guys have been wondering what's the deal with this photogrammetry, is it easy to do? Is it easy to get good results? The answer is yes. It's actually quite easy. It's there's a couple of things that we need to take into consideration, of course, but I'm going to be showing you a very cool technique next week. So make sure to hit the like button, the subscribe button, share our content, and keep us supporting. The comments are always super good to read, and I'm always happy to hear from you guys. So anything that you want to share, make sure to leave it down there on the comments. I'll see you back tomorrow for our portfolio review. So that's it, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.